So someone who reported it and the union person said, if one employee has it, then all employees have it.
So does the library not have a pop machine anymore?
Do you have a copy?
We have a pop machine in the public hallway for the public.
Well, they used to have a water machine, well, they still have water available, so.
Okay, Denny, do you want to, it's 5:15, if you want to turn your mic on and call us to order?
I think you're fine.
Still
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Kevin, you do the roll call, please.
We have 5 members present. Emma DeVos is not here, she's excused. So we have a quorum.
Very good. Any additions or corrections to the agenda as printed? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, Diana, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, the minutes from I believe our July meeting.
Yes, the July 16th meeting.
Does everyone have a chance to read through those? Any corrections or additions?
No one else wanted to.
Did you say you would?
Okay.
Nominations.
Okay, if no corrections or additions, we'll request a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. On to the director's report, Kevin.
Okay, I have written report from myself, and Jean Patrick also provided a written report. I also have a couple of additions. I decided to bring back the newsletter.
That's fun.
It's something that Zach North had, been putting together when I first started, and then we
Thank you.
Picture of
and it's been 3 years since we had the last one, and so I just thought we need to have another one out. So there's a page for children, a page for teens, and a couple of pages for adults, and
And it's very good.
yes.
It's just, it's a Cork O'Connor one, so.
I read it already.
But it's really pretty timely too, because it deals with missing women, and especially in indigent.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women.
Who put the actual newsletter together, Kevin?
I did, with an
really
input.
beautiful.
I mean, I used the format, the design that Zach had used, so.
Still, it's really
Yeah.
nice.
So we have some copies printed and available at the library. And also, there's a link on the library webpage. So it is available there too. And I plan on sending out an email to library patrons, giving them a link to it so that everybody who's in our database with an email address can read it if they choose to.
I don't know that I remembered that you had a couple of book clubs for adults. How well are those attended?
One of them has about 5 or 6 people, and that's about normally what they have. And the other one, I think, has about 9 or 10 regular members. Yeah, with about 6 or 7 who show up regularly.
And do you have someone from the library that moderates?
Yeah, previously Zach.
Zach
Did those. I mean, that's an adult program. So,
Come back.
but for this month, I mean, I was going to do it, but I had asked Rachel Solik if she was interested, and she jumped on it, and so she led both of them this month, and wants to kind of has requested that she could lead at least one of them in October, transitioning with Max when he starts. They can both kind of
Which is
co-lead it.
the larger of the two, the noon or 6?
I'm sorry?
Which group is the larger of the two, the noon or the 6 o'clock?
Like, I don't know.
The mystery or the
Um,
fiction?
I think
The mystery's at noon and the fiction's at night.
I will email you that, because I have that information, but I can't remember, because Zach sent me the list of the people who are in both, and I just don't remember which one had the bigger list.
And I love that you have them published so we know what books are.
So it gives us an idea of books to read.
I'm sorry?
I'm always looking for a suggestion
no.
for a book to read, so.
The Mystery Book Club, they just met last week or the week before, and decided as a group that the original book that had been selected for October, they didn't want to read, because they decided to change, so they changed to that Louise Penny book.
Kevin, could you give us a little background on Max, the new hire, and what duties will be?
Yes, Max Velasquez is originally from the San Francisco Bay Area, and then he went to University of Hawaii at whichever city. Manoa. Thank you. Oh, yeah. So can you tell us about that university?
It's almost downtown Waikiki.
Oh,
So
good.
it's awesome.
So he went there for his undergraduate and then stayed in Honolulu, and he received his master's degree in library and information science as well. And about 2019-ish, and then he was working in a public library, a couple different public libraries in the Honolulu area, kind of fill-in temp, and with the intent of staying there. And the libraries wanted to keep him, and then a little something happened in 2020. And all of, they all shut down just like we did, and all of their kind of temporary fill-in librarians like him lost their position. So then he moved back to the Bay Area and has been working there, just with COVID, wasn't able to find, a library that was hiring kind of in those years. And just like us, we kind of slowly opened back up.
Did you Zoom interview him or did he?
So
actually
we did a Zoom interview, yeah. So we're hoping it works out, but he said that he was ready to, find a cheaper cost of living area.
Imagine that.
So,
Does he know how old he gets?
and
First question, how
his,
long will he last?
his dad has been to Sturgis. His dad has a Clockworks window shield for his motorcycle. So,
So he's
so
heard
he's,
of it.
yes. And he is leaving, starting to drive this way on this Sunday, and so should be here sometime next week. And we'll begin a week from Monday.
So is he a single guy? Sounds
Yes,
like
I assume so, yeah. He hasn't in any subsequent communication
I was
said
curious
anything,
to where
yeah.
I'm hearing.
Yeah. You're not looking. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, there's some questions you can ask and some you can't.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So he's a little older. One thing that he talked about, and, the references that I called, talked about him doing was starting a board game kind of club program in the Honolulu libraries that, was picking up interest. And so, that could be something. He's also, talked about being a gamer. And so, with our Nintendo Switch and, the teen stuff, you could promote that as well. Maybe do some, gaming tournaments. So, yeah.
Thank you.
The other addition that I have to Jean's, Patrick's report is just a cop. She wanted me to read this letter. that she received from a young boy that she had, that I think either her mother or grandmother gave to Jean. It was a little essay that he had to write for a school, but you'll see why Jean wanted you to hear it. So when I grow up, I want to be an astronomer. If you don't know what an astronomer is, they're people that examine space. They don't go into space like astronauts, but they do work with them. Astronomers take in the info as astronauts give them on the space stations and find something new or try to figure out a question on a planet. I want to be an astronomer to answer these 3 questions. Where did the water go in the lakes of Mars? How can we plant stuff on Mars? Is there another planet with life besides plants? I have a lot of other questions too, but those are my main ones. I've wanted to be an astronomer since just this summer. I was at a library event, and I was in a little dome with a 3D projector, and it showed a realistic film of a rocket landing on Mars. I was watching the film, and I saw dried up lakes. That was the moment I wanted to become an astronomer.
Oh, I love that letter.
Isn't that great? So
That's
that just shows the effect we can have with our programs.
Is that Joan doing that, or is that Mike?
Both. Joan Lubin and Mike Farney
Share that.
both came, and yeah, Gina's going to give them a copy too. So that is the report. Any questions about the written report or anything else? Well, the written reports, and then I guess just statistics. I'll blow past the table and just look at it visually. Monthly circulation, the blue columns for August was again higher, and this year, I think the significant increase comes from us sharing our digital collection with the rest of the state, but still significantly over about 3,000 checkouts more in August this year than last year. Library traffic, again, in August was a little higher than last year. It's been that for most every month this year. And just programming, I'll come down here. Somehow the months got the name of the months, but here is August, the last column. We had more people participate in programs in August, and we had more people in July. We had less people in June, but we still had, I think, good participation this
So does it
year.
count when the people come in the door?
The people counter? Oh, no. The people counter counts people when they come in the door. And,
Well, I gotta start coming in and getting coffee. I always drop my book in the book.
well, yeah. And it has the system has a algorithm or whatever, so it doesn't count people going out, just coming in. It has, I think, kind of like a video sensor or something that it senses people coming in.
Or it just divides it by 2?
It's more than that, I think. So, because there was one time we had like a high number for a odd time of day, and I went back and it counted lots of people. I went back and I looked at the security camera footage, and there had been an individual who was sitting, at the bench by the door, and then he would keep getting up and walking in front of it. So I think it was interpreting that as an entrance, but
Sure.
So any questions about any of the reports?
How was the event at the Cornwallis, the care event?
Oh, thank you, yes. We had about 30 people who came to the library table. Jean had a number of individual children who she read to. And so I think the event overall, I would guess at least 150 people, went through it. I think the organization wasn't sure how many people to expect. But, I was satisfied, and one other thing that I will just mention, we finally turned on online registration for a library card. So on the library catalog, we did that Tuesday afternoon. So on our library catalog, now, if you're logging in, you really can't see up there, the little person icon, where you go to log in, now there's this register link. So we had 2 people at the event fill out the online registration. And so what we will do with this, in order to verify their address, because we always ask, go out to your car and get your car registration, just so we have something else to verify. They can do this. We will mail them a letter, and they can bring the letter back in. And if they brought the letter back in, then that verifies that we have their correct address. And that's what Huron does as well. So
if they register and then they want to get like an ebook or something, they can do that in real time?
no, because this doesn't, this just sends us the report, and then we still have to manually enter there. This doesn't add it directly to the database. We have to add it to the database, and then we still have to issue them a library card, with the barcode number. So they have to have that, their library card, before they can do that.
Is there ever a time that a library card system will look like register your account with Google? Where you just register for your account and away you go, put in your username and password?
Booksys, who, is the vendor of the company that creates Atrium, in their most recent release that just we received this month, they've created they have the possibility of, I guess, using your Google account to sign on.
I just thought we could use
Yeah.
books. And
It's something that we have to investigate, and we would have to do some configuration, and turn it on. Personally, I don't know that I would want to use it, just because of, cybersecurity issues. I don't know that I would want this smaller company. They have to worry about, they have, the database has lots of personal information. Your home phone number, your address, but I don't know that I would want to give them, if they ever got hacked, and then somebody could also have my Google login
Google
credentials.
aside, but just something where you log in, everybody, you have to set up an account everywhere, buy anything, you have to set up an account. I
Well-
don't know if there was a chance of this being one of those, set up an account with them and.
Well, but then it still has to be that, we have to look at it, because I don't know if we have to enter their Google credentials in our database. If that would be the case, I wouldn't want to capture your Google credentials.
Oh, no, I get it. I just.
But if it's something where they just have a connector, then like to Google, that they can reach out and say, oh, they're logged into Google, so now they can log in. And if that's how they have it set up, then that's something that we maybe be able to do.
I just don't know.
But I also don't know then if they, if that would extend to like Libby
Right.
or not. And so you'd still maybe, with Libby, you would still maybe have to use your library barcode. It's something new that they created that I have to look at. I've been dealing more with, getting, position filled and.
So the short answer is no.
Well, the short answer is not right now.
Sure.
We don't, but
This one
it's,
they fill out, and then you just send them a letter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. So back to your other question, your original question of the CARE event, I think, for us was successful. I mean, we had a number of people.
Sure. How many
There.
people overall did?
I think, I'm guessing 150. So I mean, there were certainly times where, people were sitting at their table with nobody to talk to, but there was also, I think, a lot of interactions between the, table reps and, when you have nonprofits who they can interact and maybe talk about ways they can partner too. There could be some positives there. So.
Anyone have any more questions for Kevin? Or do you have any more information for us on the director's report?
That's all I have.
Okay, if not, look for a motion to approve the report.
I so move.
Second.
Yes. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Only because you made eye contact.
On to the financial report.
And approval of bills. First, the two bills that I have for, to submit for approval are the July and August sales tax. And hopefully this will be the last time we do this, because then further on, we will be talking about you granting blanket approval for paying these.
Which makes sense.
And then the balance in the bank account at the end of July was $100,102. And then at the end of August, it went up to 101,265. So that's the bank accounts. The July and August and the profit and loss, I'm just going to quickly go to the year to month, the year to kind of date through August. Our income for the year is about nearly $3,000 more than it was the same period last year. And then our expenses were about $3,200 more than, and one of the things was you approved to buy those 4 computers, so we are about the same net income as we were last year, just $238 less than last year, even though we had about $3,000 more. And then for the library budget from the city, we are two-thirds of the way through. Some of the things like ebooks, we're only about 52%, but the last month, I've tried to spend some. Once Max gets here, he and I will focus on getting that spent down. And same with book budget, other areas, we are kind of right in that 2/3. In some things like Atrium, the bill has been paid, the bill has been paid. No, the bill hasn't been paid. The bill has actually come, I've submitted it, so once that gets paid, after maybe the next council meeting, we'll be at 100%, there that we spend it. So any questions on?
I stuck up for our sign, our digital sign the other day.
And we'll talk about that.
And
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
did like that.
Yeah. Well, and
But
Stephanie.
and you had a conversation.
Yeah, and, and I was thinking about it, digital sign, there was a question of, well, how many other departments have digital signs? And I was thinking, okay, well, my answer to that would be, I don't know that I want a sign from the 1990s how many old-style billboards have you seen built in the last 5 years? And how many digital billboards have you seen? The current style is a digital sign. And being on Sanborn, we're the only department on Sanborn. And you, at some other point, Susan, talked about, departments sharing resources. I mean, the digital sign on Sanborn by the library can be something that all departments
Sure.
could promote. The rec center could promote some things. Yeah,
It's a great,
the
that is a really good way to say
JBCC
that.
could promote, some of their activities too. So, I mean, I think it would be a great benefit to the city too,
I
not
agree.
just the
Yeah,
library.
and I did try and point out that we were on Sanborn, but no, those are really good things to point out.
So, but, I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit later too, in funding requests. So any questions about any of the financial reports?
Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
To approve the payment of the bills and the financial reports.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second?
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. On to business items and funding requests.
Okay, we have 2 funding requests. One, to pay your renewals, and I'm surprised, Diana, that you haven't bugged me yet. Wow, it's time to get our memberships renewed.
That's not a bad email.
It's about this time, so I'd like to continue having you all be members of SDLA, and this.
Do we get
will-
points for that for our accreditation?
No. No, maybe, for the higher levels, maybe.
I'm just wondering what the value of it is. I love a free membership to anything always. I'm just thinking, I've never used my SDLA membership.
Well, have you gotten the email with the news, with the, I mean, you get that, so
Every time I can't log into it.
it should just be a.
I know, but if I click on anything, I can't log in because I don't remember all my passwords, so like, I'm not getting, I don't know that I'm getting $21 worth of use on it.
Well, and if you would decide to go to the conference, you would save a whole lot more than $21. So I think it's also a way that we show, as a library board, we're supporting the statewide association.
That's fine, I
and
was
the
just
large.
wondering if there was a benefit, if it was one of the ticked items on the accreditation levels.
And I don't remember.
Because we haven't talked about accreditation since we got it.
No. Well, but the strategic planning is something that will go, in order to get a higher level, we have to have a
Sure.
strategic plan, so.
I apologize.
So for renewing all of you currently, and if we do it today, approve that, we can get that submitted and get the current rate of 21 before it probably gets voted into increase to 23 later this week, or later next week. And then Denny, I think, is already registered, but, you would like to attend the annual conference again this year. This year is in Aberdeen. So requesting $550 plus mileage for his attendance.
And for that, we do get credit for the meetings I attend.
Yeah, and then, the
Training.
meetings and the train, he gets a certificate of CEU for that, be counted towards training. So those are the official firm funding requests that, okay.
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And then, I guess, the future, wasn't sure if I should just do a separate thing, but I thought I'll just put it in here under funding requests. You all wanted to talk about just giving pre-approval to all future sales tax payments, so that way you don't have to vote on that and approve it every month, every meeting. So I guess there's no amount, but.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and carried.
Now, the last two are just, I kind of want to do a straw poll to see if you would be in favor of this in the future. There's a dinosaur puppeteer who has sent out information to libraries in the state that next April, he would like to make a tour through South Dakota if there are enough, if he can book enough places. And, I shared that with Jean. She was interested. She contacted him. At that point, he had only had 2 or 3 people show strong interest yet. And so I said, well, let's see if the board would, at this point, show favor, with, kind of, I'm not asking for funding now because he may not end up coming, but if this is something that you would be willing to approve in the future, just kind of a straw poll.
I like that.
Yeah,
too.
it's great.
For $500 and that includes his lodging, mileage, and expenses.
Yeah,
I really
yeah, if he gets enough places, then, yeah, he wouldn't charge him. Okay, so, I mean, that's, so I will tell her that, he could add us as a place that would definitely book him then.
Where's he out of?
I think Wisconsin. And then this, I wanted to talk about the sign funding. After we had talked about it last, and I told you that at our July meeting that, I was requesting $70,000 in budget from the city. I thought, well, it may be easier for the city to accept this if the board would be willing to pay for half of it, and I think we could afford it with what we have in the board account. And then subsequently, when I had my meeting with Stephanie Elwine about 2025 budget request, she said, you will have enough savings in group insurance from the insurance holiday the last 4 or 5 months of this year, that there would be enough to pay for half of it. So,
There it is.
so she said we could, then request to do a supplemental supplemental budget request to transfer those remaining funds into the 2025 budget. That would be then half of it, and if the board would be inclined to pay for half of it, that we would have the funding available for
It'd be
next year.
better to have it come from there. I believe, didn't we, a year or 2 ago, set that in our library budget, our library account, we have to leave $90,000?
No, you guys had kind of said 75,
75.
because we had gone
I knew it
down.
was a
yeah.
dollar amount.
So,
I didn't
I mean, I think this would be close if we
By the time
keep,
the money comes out.
yeah, by the time the money comes out, we will have more money going in. I mean, the money that we take in yet the rest of this year, and the months. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this work until April, spring. So,
Where are we looking at buying the sign from?
well, the quote I got was from a company in Sioux Falls. I can also look for a company here in town, but have you seen the new sign for First Lutheran?
Yep.
I contacted them and asked them, I mean, at the time, I thought, I just wanted to get a price, and they gave me the company that they used, and the guy, actually, I used that amount but that was his quote too, when he finally got me a quote. So, I'm not sure who in town does digital signs like that. But this company, Sioux Falls, definitely does digital signs. They've done
I
other,
think it's great though for doing a joint project. It shows
yeah,
Shows cooperation.
cooperation
Yeah.
and interest. I mean, it's not just want to spend money.
and plus, as of now, I didn't expect the request that I submitted for, lighting in the inside perimeter, on that soffit, that it's really dark on the interior perimeter. And Stephanie left that in as of now.
That's safety.
So I think that would also, I think, I don't think we have to say goodwill, but I mean, there, a good cooperation, just if we do that, so.
And I think I plug it, what you said earlier, that, this sign's electronic, we can put up there Park and Rec events, we can put downtown Mitchell events, we can put
Yeah.
whatever.
And in the summer that's the way tourists are routed downtown. I mean, we can also,
Such a good idea.
yeah.
And we were at a restaurant this summer having lunch, and a family was there wondering about the library and if there's any little libraries around, and they look for them in
Yeah.
places that they go, and it's like, yes, there is. So it was nice to be able to, point someone in that direction. So this would be a way that they would have probably already seen it.
We don't
So-
have a sign, do we? I mean, on the building, but,
The letters, the aluminum colored letters on the building.
yeah.
And that the ones, I think the original ones on the east side and the ones on the west side after the renovation, are not the same.
Well, it's set back
Letters.
from Sanborn, so when
You-
you drive by,
you
don't
can't really
know
see
that
it.
it's a
Yeah.
library.
Yeah. It's from Sanborn as you're driving 30, 35 miles an hour, to read those Mitchell Public Library in the aluminum on the building
Where
is.
would the sign be?
Well, that would be something we'd probably have to work with Public Works, to get the exact location where it would be allowed, but it would be along Sanborn. I'm thinking, at the corner of Third and Sanborn would be, probably better. And there's there's power out to the, light poles for the parking lot, and even I know that there's outlets in the. So I would hope that they could pull power from one of those light poles, so that nothing would have to be trenched in all the way from the building.
I guess I would just maybe suggest you get a couple of quotes,
Yeah.
whether they're in Mitchell or Sioux Falls, but we ask around, see if there's
Yeah.
anybody in Mitchell.
The original quote, I wanted to use that for at least the base,
Sure.
budget request. So, we would do that. So, it sounds like everybody, you're all willing to share half. So, thank you.
Does somebody on staff have capacity to keep it updated?
I think so. Because we should, the graphics that we could use Canva, which we already use to do our graphics and that type of thing to create some type of graphics.
Policy then to who gets to display and what they have to submit and.
Probably, because looking at other libraries' policies, some, like, I think the Yankton Library has, a bulletin board policy or whatever, so we may have to have a policy on the digital sign policy. And it would just be, I think, off the top of my head, I would say it would be the library and other city departments would be, it's a city-funded and it's a city-sponsored, it's a city sign.
But then does Corn Palace get to advertise there?
Well, that's a city department, yeah, so,
And what do they have to submit? Do they have to have like a digital ready, like you have specifications published?
Well-
They would have to follow those and.
yeah.
So that you don't have to spend your time designing their ad.
yeah, we wouldn't do that. We would
A lot
not
of
do
it's
that.
just done on the computer, and then even at the high school, the digital signs on the inside and the hallway, but it's just on a computer, and you can.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's some graphics, if there's some graphic software that comes with the the sign from, or you just can create any JPEG, or anything. That'll be something we certainly will have to find out. So, but thank you.
Okay, are we ready for the next item?
I think so.
What is the HB 1197 discussion?
Well, I wanted to give you a follow-up. We talked about it in July, and so I've drafted inserted some updates to our collection development policy, thinking that this would be the most logical place. And so what I have inserted in red, so let me make that bigger. Under the intellectual freedom standards, I put this statement of, by applying the selection criteria outlined below in this policy, Mitchell Public Library determines that the materials it purchases have literary, artistic, political, or scientific value, therefore do not meet the legal definition of being obscene. And I mean, that's language specific to kind of the three-point Miller test for what is determining if something is obscene or not.
Literary, artistic, political, or scientific?
Yes.
That's the litmus.
And I also ran this by Justin Johnson already, and he was comfortable with this language too. He was, and then towards the end so that was just, basically saying, and he had told me in previous discussions, I really can't imagine that you have anything that would ever meet the definition of obscenity. But we're just stating that by following our practices of how we select, we don't select anything obscene. And then at the end, in the expressions of concern, the challenge process, inserted that the library uses the expressions of concern procedures for meeting the requirements of, it's HB 1197, but that was the bill name, and now that it's passed, it's South Dakota Codified Law 222456 Section 2. This process is how the library determines if any material is considered obscene as defined by statute. And then if any material is challenged on the basis of being obscene for minors and the challenge is sustained, the material will be restricted to adult checkout only or removed from the collection. So somebody would have to still go through and challenge a book, and we would go through the process, and it would come to the board, and if you all then would say, you know what, this is something that we need to remove, this is, I think, obscene, then or that it shouldn't be for teenagers or children, we would either restrict it to adult only, or you would inform us to remove it from the collection completely.
So you just need a vote to approve this task?
We'll do that at the November meeting. I wanted to just see what you think of this. It's what we talked about, but, I just wanted to get it in front of your eyes and.
It makes sense to not totally reinvent the wheel and
Yeah.
to put it in with the section that you already have.
That's what I thought. And then yesterday, we again email from the Vermilion library director sent a message out to at least the large library directors with what they've come up with, and attorneys interpret things so differently. And the Vermilion city attorney recommended that because, the bill said libraries should develop a policy, interpreted that as you should create an entirely new policy just to meet the requirements. And, Justice said, I don't think so. You have it in and you've just adopted this policy to, but something else that they included, the bill also stated in a different section, separate from the requirement of developing a policy, that libraries also have to have filtering capabilities, so that, computers and youth wouldn't be able to, visit obscene sites on the internet from the library computers, which we already have. But they also put a paragraph in their separate policy that states that they do have filtering software. I also sent that to Justin today and said, do you think we need to do this? And he didn't think we need to do that. He said we could if we wanted to, but that would probably be something that we could add a separate paragraph to our computer use policy, just saying that we have filtering software. I guess, what are your thoughts on that?
I want to go back, you had an incident with someone who was on the computer that needed to be removed from, so was there a filter on that computer?
Yeah, but, the sites that he was looking at, weren't necessarily, some of the photos made other people uncomfortable, but it wasn't something that the filters, would, because it was like pictures of guys that were shirtless, which, if it was a picture of a woman shirtless, it would, but, pictures of guys shirtless aren't. And, but in that, we did human intervention just because of, other things that were going on.
Right, Lisa. No, I think this is great.
I'm okay with our computer use policy the way it is. I don't. We don't have the word filter in there. We could up here at the top, just make a paragraph if you think it would be wise, that would just say that we use filtering software. But again, Justin didn't think it was, I'm sorry?
The city attorney's fine with it, I think.
Yeah.
And it says based on inappropriate use of computers, misuse of computer equipment, inappropriate behavior. I think the broader the better.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
You get too specific, then.
So, and then we have, viewing, accessing, adult only, so. Well, so I will, just just kind of look through it again and bring it back at our November meeting for approval. The requirement is that we have it created, approved, and published by January of 2025. So we're marching to meet that deadline.
On the committee reports, do you have a report on the last strategic? I missed that, so I apologize.
No.
It's been really kind of fun and interesting.
Yeah, what I guess I included it in my director's report, but we met August 15th and August 29th, reviewing responses to the community survey. George led us through that review process. And we started at the end of our 15th session, making a SWOT analysis list, and then we assigned individuals. Okay, you do weaknesses, you do strengths, to do a fuller list and come back at our next meeting. And so we looked at all of that on the 29th, and then our next session, George wants to be in person, and, I mean, I've sent out a date finder, and so tomorrow, after, getting through this, I will go through all those responses and say, oh, this date looks the best, and send out the email as to when we can meet. That first week, I think, the first or second week, I think most people was the first week of October. And keep going.
What's your target date for having it completed?
This past summer, but, I mean, then we ended up, extending the survey by about a month and a half, and so it's gone slower than I had hoped. And I don't know not knowing the state library's process of how many more meetings George will have us kind of reviewing things before we start coming up with goals. I can't, I mean, I'm hoping that before next spring, it'll be something that will be presented to you for approval. Yeah, it's taken longer than I thought, but Huron, I think they went about a 15-month process. So.
I just say who I'm so impressed with is Brenda. She's just such a little asset on that. She really, do you know her? This.
Brenna Corner, she's a high school student, senior.
And she's so insightful and really takes it seriously and has a perspective of a young person. So I just feel like she brings so much to the table. I am really impressed by her, and I'm so glad that you included her.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Brent.
And she
Yeah.
knits during the meeting.
Knits.
She knits. It's like.
Sometimes she's like, her notes.
Well, she has taken this very seriously, and when asked, to think of ideas, and she comes with a couple, 2-3 pages of notes that she has written, with her thoughts. So.
I mean, she really is an asset and brings so much freshness and perspective that is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And she plays the cello.
Do we have any board input for the meeting? And on the citizens' input, I see no citizens here.
They're lining up.
Yeah, I guess we're ready for adjournment. Do we have a date set for our next?
Well, as I said, training for October, if any of you can make October 23rd at 10 o'clock, it would be probably a 4 to 5 hour training session. The state library we are hosting the state library regional training again. It'll be on grants. I think it's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah. So October 20,
4 or 5 hours
and they're bringing somebody, it's, the person leading it is someone not from the state library, but
And what is the topic?
grants. So Sharon Chantos of Sage Project Consultants will lead this training. So if you do want to register, the link to register is in the board, in my director's report. So you can just, open up that PDF and click on that link. And
You sent it in an email too, didn't you?
I believe I did, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's in something.
So that's October 23rd, and then our meeting for November will be, Thursday is November 19th at 5:15.
Tuesday or Thursday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you for being willing to move to tonight so that we could attend the CARE event on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I'm unlikely to be here that Tuesday, but I don't know. I hope not.
Oh, not to me.
To be perfectly honest, yeah.
She has two little girls.
You have
She'd rather she-
Other priorities?
Little girls trump us.
Oh.
Any
Y'all
other
are cute,
information
but-
for the good of the
No
board?
shame in
If not, we will adjourn. And
6:10.
you guys, hopefully in October and definitely in November.